Game of Thrones guys. David, don't know his last name. Benioff. David Beatoff and DB Wiener walk away from.
It's Weiss.
I know. Walk away from Star Wars deal apparently due to scheduling conflicts. They have some sort of Netflix shit or something. That's positive.
It's great news.
It's great news. They're not involved in the Star Wars shit. That's awesome news.
It's great news because they're writing on the last season of Game of Thrones. They're actually, since George R.R. Martin had left them.
And I've got a nice follow-up for this, is that they were at a convention where they joined in on a panel at the Austin Film Festival, and somebody live tweeted the answers to the questions they were asked. Are you ready for some of this shit, bro?
I've already heard all of it, bro.
Oh, this is rough.
I've already seen it all.
So for those who haven't, there's a picture of these two fuck shows sitting down answering this shit, and like flippant isn't even like you'd think that would be able to answer it, but or to describe it, but I mean this is some next level shit. These guys are the most lost, egotistical fucking idiots that have ever been given the reins to such insanely huge properties I've ever seen.
Game of Thrones wasn't big until, the season became a thing, and then, then they went with it. But yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and let the audience know what this was.
So the moderator asked why they chose to write all the episodes by themselves, and they responded, because we didn't know better. David said that HBO wanted them to hire other writers, and they decided to have Brian Cogman, their assistant, write 4 episodes instead. Dan wanted to remove as many fantasy elements as possible because, and this is in quotes, we didn't just want to appeal to that type of fan. They wanted to expand the fan base to people beyond the fantasy fan base, to mothers and NFL players, etc. Did you really sit down and try to boil the elements of the book down, or the books down, or did you really try to understand its major elements at all? No, we didn't. The scope was too big. It was about the scenes we were trying to depict, and the show was about power. What was your process? We just started writing, but as things went on, we had to outline, divvied up scripts. They didn't work together in the same room. One took first half, the other took the last half. Then they would swap. They gave episodes to Brian Cogman and David Hill. This is the craziest fucking. I'm trying to envision how any of this even came together. It's a miracle the show even came together at all. When they pitched HBO, we promised them that we would downplay the fantasy elements. It's a paraphrase. She is challenging the fact of how the Night King and the White Walkers and how it played out. They're expressing regret about putting the baby on a block of ice and him screaming. Apparently that was an actual child. I was unaware of this, but apparently that was a real baby that they put on a block of ice, and then went out of their way to take a nice long pan at his dick. And the mother was not happy because the mother was not happy because Dan just kept talking about a close-up of the baby's penis.
What a fucking gong
This is
show.
a 5-alarm fire from beginning to end.
Oh my God, dude. Why would you even say this out loud? Why would they even say this?
They are very granular in details of shots, admitting losing sight of the big picture. Were you listening to the feedback from your fans as things went along? Dan, we really did not. Dan doesn't see the value of considering other people's reactions. Dave acknowledged that he Googled the show and it upset him. Dan, not so much. Dan is saying how much they loved the books, but they had to make it their own. They have stressed several times about giving up 10 years of their life. They referenced David Chase in The Sopranos and how he said this was all such a blur. Dan said it was like a 10-year drunk party. It looked like a 10-year drunk party towards the end, where everyone was hungover.
It was a 10-year drunk party.
Where everyone was just hungover and fucked.
Good news. They're not writing the trilogy for Star Wars anymore.
God.
Bye-bye. Thank fuck. What a gong show. But instead, they got a $100 million deal from Netflix to write a series of
Who pays
shit.
these idiots $100 million to do anything?
Netflix. You know why? It's Game of Thrones clout.
It had to have been before the back half of Game of Thrones happened. They had to have been in talks since before that
honestly,
shit.
bro, I think Netflix at this point would pay it even after they say this shit.
What a
It's like, yeah, go
mess.
ahead and do it. Because at the end of the day, dude, the creators of Game of Thrones, you put that on anything, think of the casuals that are just going to fucking soak that up, bro. They're going to be begging and crying and crawling towards the next Game of Thrones experience, even though it was garbage in the end. But overall, it was a good show. We'll see what they can do. But yeah, I'm happy they're not touching Star Wars because it's a gong show. Disney said, nope, fuck this. Disney Disney has fired so many fucking people.
They need to.
Off of all this shit. And I can guarantee you, after this trilogy, this Rise of the Skywalker, Kathleen Kennedy is gone. She is bye-bye.
She needed to be gone before.
Because at the end of the day, she was a big success for Star Wars. They made tons of cash. But, man, it's been a fucking gong show behind the scenes. She's going to say, my job here is done, and she's going to walk away.
Star Wars have made the money anyway without her?
Yes.
Wouldn't they have also made money, arguably, possibly more, but also then had good Star Wars movies?
Probably.
Because Star Wars was going to crack a bill regardless of who the fuck Kathleen Kennedy was. You could replace her with anyone and then just get... I still find it the greatest irony that she fired the two guys that went on to get Oscars and then hired on the fuck show that followed, Ryan Johnson.
Yep.
Warner Brothers wants to do a live-action Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton, and I'm on board.
I'm in.
100%.
I'm in.
Batman Beyond is arguably my favorite Batman costume.
Bring back Keaton, please.
Michael Keaton is a dope Batman. I would love to see Batman Beyond Michael Keaton. Do it. Do it now.
I'm in.
And don't hire the two fuck shows,
I'm in.
David Beatoff and DB Wiener.
I'm in. I'm sold. I'm sold on that.
Because if you bring those in, you know what they're going to do? They're just going to make a Batman origin story, and they're going to put a baby on a block of ice and show his dick for 5 minutes with gratuitous fucking shots.